Welcome to the Business Spotlight Series. My name is Michael Torrez, and I'm a senior partner with ActionCOACH here in Central Iowa. I have with me today Brandon Hart out of Hart Smarts Product as our guest today. Today, we're going to be talking about his business journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek at what it's really like to build and operate a business. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe to the notifications so when we drop more conversations like this, you'll get the notification. Now, Brandon, welcome. Thank you for being here today. Please give us a brief overview of your business and tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate the invite to be part of this podcast here. This is cool. So as far as Hart Smart Products goes, this is first and foremost a 3D printing company. We are a bunch of nerds that love being able to design and build all sorts of really, really cool stuff and have made a business doing it. So the company itself actually has three different, we'll call them business units, three different parts of the company that do various different things, all related to 3D printing. So behind me, behind this fancy cardboard wall here, is our brick and mortar retail store. So this is a retail store that's open to the public for anybody to walk in and check out various different 3D printers, possibly buy your very first 3D printer, all the material that goes into them, replacement parts, upgrade parts, variety of different things here in the retail store. We also have on over here, which means nothing to the viewers, but off to my right is about a 6,000 square foot space that is dedicated to 3D printing services. So this is our production team that is basically doing 3D printing. So we not only sell 3D printing, we do it as well. And we've got very large format machines back there, a variety of different types of 3D printing as well. And some of them very, very large. We can 3D print an entire full-sized human being if we wanted to. And then the third aspect of the business is our industrial 3D printer. So we're actually a 3D printer machine manufacturer. So we design and build a very large format industrial 3D printer that we sell to businesses wanting to do prototyping or bring additive manufacturing in-house in some way.
Oh man, that sounds awesome. Gets me excited hearing about all that stuff. I wish I was a nerd.
Yeah. Nerds are welcome here, that's for sure.
So to set the stage for our viewers and listeners, generally speaking, what does your current ownership structure look like? Are you the sole founder, owner? Are there outside investors?
Yeah. So the easiest one of those questions to answer is I am the sole founder of the business. I had a gentleman, my first team member, take a huge risk and leave a cushy full-time job with an established company to jump on board with me before I myself had left my cushy full-time job to jump on board with Hart Smart Products. So because of that individual does have a minority stake in the company. So it is essentially the two of us. I'm 95%, he's 5%. So that's the ownership structure. No outside investors. We've bootstrapped this thing from the very beginning. It's the profits from the business itself are what have gone into being able to invest in it and grow it to the point that it is now. No investors to date.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So when you look at your role, how many hours do you spend working in the business, your job, and how many hours do you spending on the business, strategies, planning, etc.?
You're asking the tough questions. Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, everybody knows that you need to spend a good amount of time on the business rather than in the business if you are operating as a CEO, as a head of a company or whatever. I can't help working in the business more than I probably should, because again, 3D printing is cool and I really enjoy a lot of the stuff that we're doing. I love getting new product in and checking the product in and seeing what the cool new colors are. And oh my goodness, this stuff is glow in the dark and also has glitter and also is super fantastic. So to the short answer is, percentage wise, it's probably something around the range of 90% in the business, 10% on the business. That number will vary from day to day, week to week, but overall, that's probably about where it's at, which I will note is actually better than it used to be. So I am getting better. I am, delegating and trusting my team to do things that I used to feel like could only be done by me.
90%, and that's better. That's good progress, right?
Yeah, progress. Yeah, it's all relative to what it was before.
What was the first thing you handed off and delegated?
Oh, the very first thing I handed off, I don't know if it was a full delegation so much. It was just sort of, we'll split these duties, but it was actually just printing things for customers. I'd been doing it for so long and knew the machine really well. It was hard for me to offload that. Probably the first thing I fully delegated was most likely the assembly of some large format machines that we were selling from another company. Basically, it was like a 2-week project to put one of these things together. And so we had a lot of businesses that would pay us to put these together, test them, calibrate them, and then ship them to those companies. Again, it was one of those things I felt like I had to do. And so I would go home at night, eat dinner with my family, and then hop back in the car and run back to the shop so that I could put in some night hours putting these things together. It just made sense for me to delegate that. So I did.
Nice. So let's move into what makes your business special. Who primarily does your business serve? If I were in the audience, how would I know if I'm a good fit for your product?
Yeah. Are you into 3D printing?
I've never done it, but it's, I've watching your videos and I was like, oh, this seems fun.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. So we are fortunate in that we are the only 3D printing company, the only company that you can walk in the front doors, look at filament on the shelf, pick out what you want, and go home and start printing with it. We're the only place in Iowa that you can do that. We are one of the only places in the entire Midwest where you can do that. So we're pretty special in that we exist.
Yeah.
But there's obviously a variety of other things that make us pretty unique and pretty special, even amongst our competitors that are elsewhere in the country or in the world. We are particularly focused on sustainability and eco-friendliness. So, we made this big wall, but this big wall was all made from, non-bleached, non-stamped, corrugated cardboard, so that as soon as this wall needed to come down, it goes right in the recycling bin and can be turned into other paper products. And we focus on a lot of biodegradable, compostable, fully recycled already from post-consumer waste in many cases, materials that people can print with. So we really have a big focus on sustainability and eco-friendliness here. My YouTube channel, my own personal YouTube channel, which I started well in advance of actually starting the business, was and continues to exist as my biggest YouTube channel, is called the Eco Extruder, because the extruder is the main part of the printer that's pushing filament. And obviously I focus on being as eco-friendly as possible. So big shout out, check out the Eco Extruder YouTube channel. Good nerdy sustainability stuff on there.
Yes, check it out. I've already checked out a few videos and I'm like, oh, gotta keep going. It gets addicting.
Nice.
You're like, oh man.
Thank you. Yes.
Uh, so what is one thing you wish more people knew about your business?
Yeah, so it's going to be funny because I just said one of the things that makes us special is that we exist. Um, the thing I wish more people knew about our company is that we exist. So these days, there is such an automatic just, oh, I want a thing, I'll jump on Amazon. It's
Mhm.
just, you don't even think about it. It's just, oh yeah, I need to go get that. I'll fire up Amazon and go and buy a spool of filament or buy a nozzle for my printer or whatever. And we're here. So you can come on over, you can just pop in, you can grab whatever you want off the shelf, and you could use it in a matter of minutes. You don't even have to wait for the next day or same day prime shipping. It's right here
Mhm.
anytime you want it. We also do offer shipping, so in all fairness, we do that. But yeah, honestly, the biggest thing we get is just there's tons of people that walk in the front door, and one of their very first comments is, "Wow, I didn't know there was a 3D printing shop in Des Moines. We're here. We'd love
Yeah.
to work with you. We'd love to talk about that." We're doing a number of different things to try to improve our visibility in the Des Moines area specifically. But yeah, that would be. I wish more people knew that we existed.
Yeah, that one you said a great segue for our next questions, which leads me into marketing, which sometimes is a vital of every business out there, right? Often many business owners struggle with it. Um, I'm always curious what successful businesses are doing. What percentage of your business, your monthly revenue, typically you invest back into your marketing budget?
Yeah, marketing is expensive, and it can be a massive waste of money if it's not done properly. I know from experience. I know. I probably went through trying to do it myself, and then I think three other marketing firms before I finally found one that seemed like it was performing in a way that the metrics would actually show us, like, for all of the money that we are spending, we are getting more of that back in new sales and new customers and so on. That's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And what percentage of our, would you say, of our total costs?
Yeah, of your revenue do you put back to your marketing?
Yeah. I'm gonna say I'd have to do like real math here to get you an actual number, but I'm gonna say it's somewhere in the 10% range.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it's quite a bit. We do Google shopping ads, we do some social media ads, and we do obviously, just SEO work and things like that to improve our overall marketing. So there's a variety of different tools and different companies that we contract with for that. I guess I'll drop some names, but Logical Position is the one we use for the online ads and Google
Mhm.
Shopping and stuff like that. They're, you know, really good at what they do, so they know how to kind of work the marketing system and use the algorithms the proper way and things that I could probably never do myself. And
Yeah.
then Shopper Approved is one that we do for ratings. And if you are an online retailer and you're not using ratings for your products or for your business or things like that, um, you're doing it wrong. uh, yeah, I mean, it makes a huge difference to whether people buy a product or not. Because again, we live in the world of Amazon, and if something doesn't have a 4-star rating, you're not going to sell it. And
Mhm.
so we have to have that kind of thing as well. So that makes a big difference.
Nice, nice. So what would you say is the number one marketing strategy that has brought you the most business?
Yeah, I mean, Logical Position is probably the one investment, the one company that I have worked with that has, from a purely marketing standpoint, has benefited us the most. There are a number of things that you could argue are or are not marketing. We have a monthly 3D printing meetup group, which is not meant to be a marketing tool of any kind,
Mhm.
but we do hold it here in the space I'm currently sitting in. And so therefore our retail store is right over there. And that helps. It also helps spread the word. We have a Discord server that people are actively contributing to and talking about things in. So it really helps facilitate word of mouth, which everybody will tell you word of mouth is the best marketing you can possibly get. So we just basically put things in place to kind of help facilitate the best word of mouth marketing that we can. Anytime somebody comes in and says, "Oh yeah, my friend told me about this place. I didn't know you guys existed," that's a win. So
Yes. Yeah, word of the mouth. Yeah. So what approach have you taken to track your leads? Do you have your favorite CRM that you want to refer
yeah,
to the listeners?
yeah. So when it comes to the retail business, tracking leads isn't really a thing. People walk in the door, they jump on our website and they buy things. That's about as deep as it gets when it comes to some of that kind of thing. The services side, there can be some leads and lead tracking associated with maybe some larger or recurring print jobs, but honestly, those generally tend to happen fairly organically. So when it comes to tracking leads and customers and going through the marketing funnels and all that kind of stuff, it really boils down to the industrial printers. And so for us, our HSP1i is
Mhm.
our own, in-house developed and built machine. And that is the one where, it is an expensive industrial tool for a company. So it is a long sales cycle. There's a lot of qualifications. There's a lot of marketing follow-up and follow through that needs to happen, and constant, staying up to date with customers, setting reminders to yourself to follow up with a particular customer because they said, talk to me in 2 weeks, and that sort of thing. So that is the point at which we took the leap and have now invested in HubSpot for
Okay.
our CRM. And then also we use it for trouble ticketing and support tickets for any customers who have issues. We use it for our 3D printing service to keep track of individual print jobs and send out automated notifications. And it has a lot of marketing capabilities. Like arguably it is a marketing platform more than anything else, but we haven't really taken full advantage of its marketing capabilities because, again, as we talked about before, marketing is expensive, and HubSpot is also very expensive. But we're working our way up to it, baby steps. But yeah,
Yeah.
so right now we use HubSpot CRM for keeping track of leads and opportunities and possibilities for HSP1i sales.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So you came up with the prototype for your new industrial SP. What is it? SP.
HSP1i. So HSP is Hart Smart Products. One, this is our very first industrial machine. So it's basically platform number one. And then the -I stands for IDEX, or independent dual extrusion. So it's a 2 print head system where each one of the print heads can be operated independently of the other. So not a very sexy name, I grant you, but it is sort of as a utility, as a tool for industrial purposes. The name works, and that way we can come out with HSP2, HSP3, HSP2P, and different versions of that same platform. So it
No.
we opted for I don't know, a utilitarian name in this case.
What made you get into that market? Why did you want to go into the industrial?
Yeah, we've been selling large format machines for a while. Some of the companies that we work with do make true industrial machines, but their machines tend to be very expensive. You're easily pushing $100,000 for one of those. And then we sell machines that were large format, but they really weren't industrial. They were kind of those DIY kits I mentioned earlier. And those machines had a lot of drawbacks, a lot of shortcomings, not the least of which is the fact that you basically have to build it yourself. And there just doesn't seem to be a whole lot between those. And so as we started to look at it, we're a bunch of 3D printing nerds. We know our machines, we know how things work, we know the right way to do things and what the wrong way is. So as we look at that, it just seemed like there was a glaring gap in the
Mm.
industry that we knew perfectly how to fill. So it was almost one of those, we would be silly if we did not build our own industrial machine. And so we decided to go ahead and do so.
Nice, nice. Well, we spent a bunch of time focused on the business and sharing a few best practices for the audience. I'd love
Yeah.
to take a step back into your journey a bit more. Why did you choose to go into business for yourself instead of working for someone else? And what was the transition like?
Oh man, we're gonna need a lot more time. Yeah. So this is a tricky one because I did not really grow up with a whole lot of entrepreneurial thinking in my upbringing. It was mostly, you know, uh, find a good job, climb the corporate ladder, try to, be successful that way. And so the whole idea of owning your own business and being your own boss and all that kind of stuff was all sort of foreign to me. So I started doing, climbing the corporate ladder and working for big companies and that sort of thing. And turns out I don't really operate well that way.
Mm.
So I like doing things because they make sense, because there's a practical reason to do those things, and there's an impact with the things that I do in terms of results, or in terms of what's going to happen if I do it well or I don't. When you're just a cog in the corporate machine, you do things because you're told to. If you start asking too many questions, if you start pushing back, you're a bad employee. And it just doesn't work for me. So it became increasingly clear that I always wanted to do something a better way, or a different way. Or haven't you ever thought about maybe we don't do the thing that was already planned, but we do it this other thing, which I think has a better opportunity. And that kind of thinking gets dangerous in a corporate environment. And I I got into trouble a couple times for trying to think too far outside the box. And nothing nefarious or anything like that. Just was like, yeah. It became clear that I needed to start my own thing, and so I started a business on the side, which was Hart Smart Products, and left my corporate life to join a smaller company so I could start Hart Smart Products at the exact same time. And as I was working in that other job, I was growing Hart Smart Products with their full approval and support, which was amazing. And they told me the day they hired me that if Hart Smart Products ever got to the point where it could be my full-time job, it could sustain me, that I should leave and go do that. So
Mm.
from day one, they told me that that was what they wanted, because they could see it. They
Yeah.
knew that that was where I needed to be. And so yeah, that's exactly what happened. I kept growing it.
Wow.
It got to the point where it took over too much of my work life, and it was only fair, it was only right that I leave the other job and dedicate myself fully to Hart Smart Products.
Yeah, that was great to have that encouragement, or they seen
Yeah,
that you were going to be
isn't that
passionate about
amazing?
them, whatever it was. But
Yeah, if there were more, corporations or bigger companies that would truly embrace the entrepreneurial spirit of their team members and employees, that I just can't even imagine what those companies would look like or how successful they could be. But too many of
yeah,
them get scared and they stifle innovation and prevent
yeah.
the
I
right
think
types of
I
employees from staying.
yeah, I think about that story of I think it was Sherman Williams, or the paint guy. He was back there mixing some colors, and they
Mhm.
thought he was doing it on his own, but then he ended up opening up his own paint company and stuff like that because they didn't want to listen to him and go with the flow and hear his
Yeah,
ideas.
yeah, yeah. You don't want to lose the innovative people, and I'm afraid that that's what happens more often than not.
Yeah.
Those who think outside the box, those who are innovative, those who want to kind of push what others perceived as the limitations, they're not a good fit for corporate culture, and they're going to leave and they're going to start something and they're going to do that something better than, than what the big stodgy corporations are doing. This is sounding
Yeah.
very anti-corporate, which I don't
No.
necessarily mean. It's just, certain people are good for corporate culture, certain people are not. And
Mhm.
I'm the type of individual that really needed to do my own thing, and now I am.
Yeah. As you look back on your journey so far, what has been the most memorable roadblock or hurdle that you were challenged with, and how did
Yeah.
you overcome?
Uh Paying myself.
Oh,
I mean, that's
the big.
for the longest time, that was it. Like that was the dream. If I could own and run a business, and that business was able to pay me a living wage, like that would be the dream. That would be amazing. It just seemed like it was so far off, so impossible, just was never going to happen. But put together a plan and tried to figure out how to make it happen. It was admittedly very difficult for a very long time, and trying to make that transition, trying to bridge that gap between full-time employment with a company with great benefits and paying me a quite frankly ridiculous salary, and then being able to essentially cut that salary in half, reduce my living expenses, and start paying myself just a little bit at a time, and then just a little bit more, and then just a little bit more, to try to get myself to a point where we can survive off of what I'm able to make on my own. That was massive. That was a
Mhm.
big deal.
Yeah, a lot of business owners struggle with that, right? They want to sacrifice a little to make the business successful first,
Yeah,
but you
that's right.
gotta, but once you start paying yourself, that's the greatest feeling. So shoot, let's fast forward and look at what's coming next. Where do you see your business in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, the big change that we made in 2023 was coming out with our industrial 3D printer. That was a massive change for us, a big, not necessarily a pivot, because it's really more of an extension of what we were doing, but it's a pretty big extension of what we were doing. And the truth is, at this point, 3 to 5 years out, I don't see us being terribly different. uh, Bigger, certainly, more people on the team than we currently have, possibly, pushing the 5 year mark. We might be looking at a second location. But ultimately, as far as what we fundamentally are doing with the retail store, the printing service, and then our industrial machine line, I don't see things changing a whole lot, just sort of building out what we currently have in place with more resources and more capabilities and more offerings along all of those lines.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. It's not a fun answer. People want to hear that, our second location will be opening on the moon, but that's just not, what it looks like in the future for us. So yeah, just more of the same, but more of it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So when thinking of your future in the business, I feel that it's important to address the topic of building a team, right? Having your great team. How would you describe your leadership style in business, and has it changed over the years?
Yeah. When I started, I had never managed anybody ever. And now I was managing the whole business as well as individuals on a team. And I was scared to death of that, because I did not know what kind of manager I was going to be. I was very interested to find out. um, am I a micromanager? Am I hands off? Am I a perfectionist that I could never give up control of anything? Yeah, I was very eager to find out. And I would say that my management style is always changing, is always evolving. I'm learning the right ways to do things and the wrong ways to do things, and so on. So far, there hasn't been any major disasters related to my management style, so that's a good thing. But I would say it's providing guidance without micromanaging. I can't stand being micromanaged, so I couldn't even picture myself micromanaging others. It is still very hard to delegate. It is still very hard to give somebody, a responsibility and just trust that it's going to happen the right way. I am somebody who a lot of times believes that I know the best way to do something. So when somebody does something a different way, honestly, a lot of times it's probably better than the way I would have done it, but it's not the way I would have done it. Like there's always that, I wouldn't have done it that way, but you have to be able to let go and trust that somebody's going to do things well. Otherwise, you're going to end up being the person that they always come to see, here's what I was thinking of doing. Is this going to be okay? Or, I think that I should go and put some stuff away. How would you like me to do that? You don't want that. You need people to be able to go off, do their own thing. The one thing that I like to believe I do well is allow people to fail. In other words, if somebody makes a mistake, if something bad happens as a result of how they were doing something or whatever, I like to think that I don't come down hard on them and I don't make them feel, worthless or anything like that. It's okay to fail as long as you learn from that failure and you don't make the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
I like to think that is the culture that I've instilled here, that is the management style I have. You'd have to ask the team to see whether I'm making good on that, but from my perspective, I think so.
Nice. Well, you do have a unique world and stuff, and it's interesting, but a lot of challenging areas business have is hiring and retaining team members. What has been your approach to hiring and retaining your team?
Yeah, I feel like we kind of have the opposite problem that a lot of companies do, in that a lot of times it's easy to find the outgoing people, the sales people, the marketing people. They're always keeping their resumes up on LinkedIn and keeping everything polished, trying to be outgoing and communicate, and those are easy people to find. The technical people, the ones who sort of hide behind the scenes, who aren't necessarily oftentimes the most outgoing or whatever, those are the harder ones to find. But we have the opposite problem. Because we are the 3D printing store in Iowa, there's a lot of people just like pushing resumes in our faces and over email and coming in person to say that they want to work in our shop and so on. So we've got lots of resumes for technical people who want to work behind the scenes, trying to find salespeople, trying to find marketing people, trying to find, the non 3D printing nerds who want to do that kind of stuff has been difficult for us. So how do we find them? There's no special secret. We put job postings on Indeed and on LinkedIn and try to find people that way. In some cases that works out, in some cases it doesn't. But I don't think I have any special secret here as far as that kind of thing goes. We try to be upfront about everything. We try to explain in job interviews what our expectations are, kind of how our company works, and I don't like the star interview questions, tell me about a time when and all that kind of thing. We want to just kind of get a feel for somebody's personality, whether they're going to be a good fit for the team and be able to fit in around here. So
awesome.
So
Nice.
far it's gone okay.
Yeah, nice. So we have certainly covered a lot of ground on the conversation today. For those who are watching, I highly encourage you to save this and come back and watch it a few times, additional times. There's a lot of great information here. As we begin to wrap up, I have a few rapid fire questions, just quick top off the head answers for each of them. So
Okay.
What is the key to success for you?
Uh, just try to identify the opportunities that make sense and jump on those, and the ones that don't make sense, put them aside and keep going as fast as you can without second guessing it. I don't know if that made sense, but
Yeah.
what I got.
What is your one piece of advice for other business owners?
Don't be afraid to fail, I guess. I mean, there's one thing of failing for the entire company, but individual decisions and stuff like that, if you get, paralyzed by trying to analyze and make the right decision every single time, you'll never be able to move forward fast enough to keep up with the pace of business. So make a decision and stick with it.
What is one book that you are reading or that you have read recently?
Yeah, so I don't know that it's relevant to the business, but my most recent book was Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Love me some sci-fi, and that's a good one.
All right. For all our sci-fi folks there.
I'm a nerd. I already said it.
If you had to choose only one area of your business you could immediately improve tomorrow, what would it be?
Is it a cop out to say money? I mean, there's so many different things. Like if we had unlimited money, there's so many different things we could do. There's so many things that we're planning on someday doing once we have the financial means to do so, and that kind of thing. So I know it's probably not a super fun answer, but the truth is, if we had more money, we'd be better.
Mhm. What area of the business brings in the fastest money?
Yeah, all of them, but in different ways.
Okay.
Again, I feel like I'm copping out on a lot of these answers here, but retail brings in money every single day, just not a whole lot of it as compared to selling an industrial machine. But selling an industrial machine only happens a couple times a month if things are on normal pace. So kind of
Yeah.
depends.
So before we get into the final question of the day, how can others learn more about you and your company, and how can they get connected?
Yeah. So we mentioned the YouTube channel already, but I'll throw it out there again. I actually have two YouTube channels. One is for the business. So that is the Hart Smart Products YouTube channel. But my own personal YouTube channel, which honestly is really a lot about the business these days, because that's my life. And that is the Eco Struder. So check out those two. On social media, we are usually either at EcoStruder or at Hart Smart Prod, because it shortens us in a lot of cases, or Hart Smart Products. So you can find us there. I'm sure there'll be links and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then of course our website. Don't forget about heartsmartproducts.com. So that'd be probably the best place to figure out what we do and who we are.
Awesome. Awesome. So our closing question is, what is the most what most inspires you today?
Yeah. The future. I want to get there. I want to get to the place that I envision in my mind in terms of what the business looks like, how life is for me as the business owner, and what our team looks like, and just I just want that dream to become a reality. So I'm inspired on a daily basis to push forward and try to get there. So the future.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Brandon, I would like to thank you and Hart Smarts Products for spending your time and letting our viewers know about you and how they can come and visit you. So you guys come and visit Hart Smart Products here
Come
in
on out.
Iowa.
Yeah.
Come check it out. Check out their wall. Check out maybe they're making a product that you can see. Have some fun with them. We will be sharing the links and stuff below, so make sure to follow. And thank you, Brandon.
Yeah. Thank you very much. This has been fun.